Welcome to the From Egypt to Zion show to all of the newcomers, and welcome back to all of my loyal subscribers. Today, I am going to be talking to you about Donald Trump's administration and what his goals are, and it is evident in what we see today. Now, Donald Trump's administration is brought in to divide, to cause riots, and to ultimately oppress Black people, which are African Americans, and to also ultimately bring in martial law. Now, the situation going on in Cincinnati is not a one off. It's actually a retaliation because those residents in Cincinnati, Ohio, ousted the KK members last year from their neighborhoods. They came and marched in there. So, in retaliation, this is more than likely an op where they sent the Russian guy and his female companion in to Cincinnati to raise a lot of commotion and to really start a race war, because this is what it's going to ultimately lead to. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. However, a person who is spiritually inclined with the Most High's word understands the times that we're living in. And many people will disagree with what I'm telling you, but there are a lot of them that will actually agree because the signs are there. When Donald Trump came in, he immediately began to clear out the office with all of the previous government workers. He immediately began to do away with programs that assisted low-income people, poor people, and ultimately he knew that there were programs that helped Black people, African Americans, that is. And so he understands that when there are no jobs, because when he put in this infrastructure and hired in more white supremacists in the corporate realms, white supremacists in the White House government realms, he automatically knew that there would be a high unemployment rate of Black Americans. He also knew that there were immigrant groups that are hostile towards Black Americans. And in order to accomplish his goal, which is a satanic goal, he tried to make sure he done away with programs that would ultimately help people of color, Black people, African Americans, and even Hispanic people. In fact, this is why he's sending certain immigrants back. He knows that Black people are not going to do those farming jobs. However, his thought process was in a mindset of returning Black Americans to a servitude or slavery type of lifestyle, especially when it comes to economics and working. However, that failed miserably because a lot of our people are educated people and they are not going in that direction. We've had enough, and we will fight to prevent what Donald Trump is doing. So this is why you see a major uptick in unlawful police criminality against Black people. This is why you see an uptick in white racism and white supremacy. This is why you see an uptick in division because of Donald Trump's antics and what he's ultimately bringing in, which is handed down from the shadow government or the elite. So, family, don't get confused into thinking that this doesn't play into Bible prophecy, because it absolutely does. Because this is Satan's greatest tactics. His greatest tactics, believe it or not, are racism, divide and conquer, oppression. However, we as a people, especially those who are believers in the Most High Yah and who are keepers of his commandments, laws, and precepts, we must not engage in the wickedness and the traps and snares that are set when you have people that serve the kingdom of Satan, which is what Donald Trump and his government and cronies and those that are in these corporate and elite high-end positions are. Many of them serve Satan. They're Freemasons. A lot of them are in the Illuminati, and they are here to carry out Satan's will. So, family, I just thought I'd come in and weigh in on what's going on around the world, what's going on in Cincinnati, and also ultimately what is going on with the Africans against Black Americans, because they have always oppressed us. They have always been the main components of the divide and conquer. In fact, they're so weak that the Western nations are not afraid of them because they are so weak. They don't fight back. They have not done what Black Americans has historically done, which has stood up to oppression. We have fought for our freedom. And a lot of these nations are vehemently jealous, envious, hatred of Black Americans for that fact. Plus, they know that we are the chosen ones. We are the ones that the Most High chose and gave lots of talents to. This is why no one can match Black Americans when it comes to music, sports, entertainment, and, to be honest, physical. We're very physically strong and also mentally strong because we went through oppression. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that all Africans have this same belief system that what is being done, because there are many Israelites on the continent. However, I am saying that there are certain groups of pretty much Hamites, Nigerians, those type of people, Liberians, most of those folks have a strong hatred against Black Americans, and they're jealousy and envious. Instead of them thinking through and unifying, because we all ultimately came from the continent of Africa, they are here to do the white man's bidding, and it is very evident. Now, what Black Americans need to do is stop supporting their businesses when they're this way. For example, it has been known for many years that these shops, these African braiding shops, have done a very bad disservice against Black Americans. They've uh, always braided hair too tight, overcharged. They've always been swindlers. In fact, Nigerian businesses, a lot of them are swindlers, and they have been scammers from jump. So until we have people that recognize our buying powers, we only need to support our own, and that's the bottom line. I think it would behoove you to read Dr. Claude Anderson's books on powernomics, because they make a whole lot of sense, and this is the goal. We need to learn and unify We need to oust those in our communities that are not doing us any good. Those that are in our community oppressing our people, that are committing criminal acts against our people. Yes, we should not have to have things where we're worried about our communities being destroyed. We shouldn't be worrying about rapists and killers and murderers in our community. These are the types of people in our communities that need to be ousted out of our communities because it serves us no good and no purpose. We need to unify, get on one accord, return to the Most High's laws. And once we do that and cry out to Him, then we will see change and He will hear us. But when we're doing things that are against His commandments and His will, we will only remain below while everyone gets above us and be on top. So we really have to read our Bible scriptures, get in the Word, fast and pray, and discern the times that we're living in. So I wanted to weigh in on what's happening today. And if you don't know that we're in the end times, by realizing and feeling this heat across the country, and not only the country, the world, because there are wildfires and the core of the earth is heating up because hell has enlarged itself. And we are in the time of the end, the time of the Antichrist, and the time of the false prophets. We're getting ready to go into the great tribulation. And I hate to break it to you, family. The great Euphrates River has dried up, and those fallen angels have been unleashed to cause havoc in the earth. And I could prove that scripturally. However, family, I would behoove you to get into your scriptures, read the book of Revelation, read the book of Daniel, read also from Hosea all the way to Malachi. Yes, read those books, and you will see that we are in the end times. Well, thank you, family, for tuning in, and I hope that this has been a great message. I hope that this has inspired you to get into your scriptures and to pray. And until next time, peace, shalom.